Christmas at my parents' house had always been loud. Not joyful loud exactly. More like layered noise, overlapping conversations, television running in the background, utensils against plates, laughter that arrived on schedule rather than spontaneously. Ritual noise. Predictable, comforting in the way repetition sometimes is. That year felt no different at first. My mother moved between kitchen and dining room with her usual restless energy. My father adjusted the thermostat twice. My sister narrated minor inconveniences with theatrical irritation. My brother sat heavily on the couch, scrolling through his phone with the particular detachment he had perfected over the years. I brought wine. I always brought wine. Some habits survive long after their emotional motivation fades. Dinner unfolded along familiar tracks, work updates, distant relatives, rising costs of things no one could influence. I participated where required, nodded where expected. Then, somewhere between dessert and coffee, the conversation tilted. I don't remember the exact entry point. These moments rarely announce themselves cleanly. They emerge gradually, like pressure changes. My sister had been discussing childcare expenses. My mother sighed sympathetically. My brother muttered something about financial stress. And then my mother said it. "You're childless." The word landed oddly, not sharp, not cruel, simply declarative. A classification. "You owe us everything." Silence didn't immediately follow. There were small reinforcing sounds, my sister's soft agreement, my brother's faint exhale, my father's noncommittal shift in his chair. Consensus forming through inertia. I sat very still, not because I was shocked. Because I wasn't. The sentence had lived in the room for years, unspoken but structurally present. My financial stability had always been treated as a shared family resource rather than an individual condition. I had been the flexible one, the available one, the one without dependence, therefore without legitimate claims on my own autonomy. I looked at my mother. She wasn't angry, she wasn't emotional, she was certain. Which somehow carried more weight. "Oh, you?" I asked quietly. My sister leaned forward slightly. "It's not like that." It was exactly like that. "This family helped you," my mother continued, tone measured, almost instructional. "Everything you have traces back to us." Traces back. An interesting phrase. Technically true in the way all lives trace back to something. Genetics, geography, circumstance. But causality, I had learned, is rarely as simple as lineage. I thought about the years I'd quietly covered gaps, unexpected bills, business miscalculations, emergency transfers framed as temporary but never repaid. Support had flowed in one direction so consistently it had ceased being noticed. "I see," I said, and I did, with unusual clarity. What unsettled me wasn't the accusation. It was the permanence of the belief behind it. No amount of explanation was going to restructure that narrative, so I stood, no dramatic gestures, no raised voice, just the simple physical act of exiting a conversation whose outcome had already been decided by everyone but me. My mother's voice followed. "Where are you going?" "Home." "This isn't finished." It was. I drove without music. The roads were nearly empty. Holiday lights flickering past the windshield with indifferent cheerfulness. The city moved through its seasonal rituals, unaware of quiet recalibrations happening inside vehicles. By the time I reached my apartment, my decision had settled into something unusually calm, not anger-driven, not impulsive, structural. I made one call. My lawyer answered on the second ring, voice steady, alert in that professional way that suggests preparedness without curiosity. "I have a question," I said. "Go ahead. How fast can we initiate a sale?" A pause. "Off what?" "The house." Another pause, longer this time. "Are you sure?" Certainty, I discovered, doesn't always arrive with emotion. Yes, the mechanisms had existed long before the conversation. Ownership structures, trusts, signatures placed on documents years earlier under the banner of efficiency, tax planning, practicality. No one had imagined they might one day matter emotionally. Processes moved quietly, legally, predictably. By New Year's, reality began surfacing, not through confrontation, through notification. Through paperwork, through institutional language carrying the peculiar authority of things already decided. My mother's call came first. Voice tight, unfamiliar. There must be some mistake. There isn't. You can't just. I can. Silence. My father spoke next, days later, measured, exhausted. This feels extreme. It isn't. Another silence. Because extremes are often defined by expectation rather than action. The sale completed without drama. Markets are indifferent to family narratives. Months later, the emotional landscape remained unsettled. No reconciliations, no explosive fallout. Only a quieter, more enduring distance. People sometimes imagine rupture as a moment. It's usually a process, one that begins long before anyone acknowledges it, and continues long after the triggering sentence fades into memory.